Here we go again. She won't confess to him, he won't confess to her. The first person to say I love you loses. Sounds familiar, right? Well, it's not Kaguya-sama this time. It's a manga that I've wanted to talk about for a while now, but never really got around to it. And it might either make you feel like the loneliest person on the planet, or flood you with dopamine, or maybe even both. But before we get to that, I know a lot of people complain about certain tropes in the romance genre, like one of the characters don't know their love interest loves them back, or can't take a clue, or constantly teasing, or pushing the other person to do more outside of their comfort zone. The extrovert adopting the introvert, or taking 10,000 years to confess and get anywhere, rent a girlfriend, and many other tropes. But at the end of the day, real relationships in the real world all have different dynamics. Whether you like the more conventional shonen approach, shoujo approach, seinen approach, or even josei approach, all have a sense of realness to them based on person to person. And in the real world, slapping a demographic label doesn't really work, because obviously it takes two sides for this to work. Or maybe 100 if you're this guy from the manga and soon to be anime about 100 girlfriends. And we all act differently when it comes to approaching the idea of pursuing romance. Not everyone can ask out every single person they take interest in, or not everyone is patient enough to build a friendship first or wait. Some people are shy, some people are more confident, and there are plenty of people that can't catch a clue and plenty of people that can catch a clue and pretend not to, and so on. And because of these, we have a bunch of romance anime and manga that we can all relate to, look forward to, or prefer. And needless to say, I thought I would get tired of this back and forth teasing dynamic already. But I guess I was wrong, because I can safely say that this manga actually does it right. Just take Kaguya-sama and make it something more focused on the romance and wholesome aspect with a bit less meta comedy and a lighthearted touch that can honestly brighten up your day with a smile. Just by seeing the interactions between these two characters that are playing a game of love. A funny little game that involves getting the other to confess first. But instead of beating around the bush, in some ways it's still very much direct, which you don't really expect in this trope, and not one-sided at all. This is the story of Aishiteru Game wo Owarasetai, or I want to end the game of love.
Yukiya でいいよ。
Yukiya? Yukiya, 誰にする？
お前、先選べよ。
Following the story of our two main characters, Yukiya Asagi and Miku Sakura, who are basically childhood friends. For most of their lives, Yukiya never really saw Miku as a girl, numb to most advances, taking everything as friendly gestures. Heck, even when she outright says I love you and continues to say it, he outright just says it back, without any embarrassment whatsoever. Until they make up a game where they take turns saying I love you to each other, until the other person gets embarrassed and admits it. Over time, Yukiya realizing that he's becoming much more conscious of Miku as an actual girl. Years later, getting flustered when she said those exact same words, I love you. Thus begins the story following the everyday life of these two, constantly trying to get the other to admit defeat, trying to improve themselves in their own ways for the sake of each other, unsure if the other actually likes them back. But that's the beauty in this trope which the author uses to expand on the characters' insecurities. They've been playing this game their entire life. The fear of ending the game is something for two people that feel this strongly for each other, a huge thing. We hear this in Yukiya's monologue, unsure what would happen if they never played this game to begin with. What would have kept them together this whole time? In some ways, the game itself represents the status quo, a scenario in which we can even place ourselves in real life. A fun and playful little way to show not wanting to advance or take the next step in fear of what just may happen next. Were we just together this whole time because of the game? You can quite literally take that as a way of saying, if I truly confess to this other person and they truly don't feel the same way, will it jeopardize our current relationship, with which I'm content with but want more with, which I'm sure many people have felt the fear of. And in the midst of the fear, we do everything humanely possible to better ourselves for the sake of that other person, wanting to stand out more, be more unique, more cute, be stronger, improve looks, matching their actions or our perception of what they want, which is exactly what both Yukiya and Miku constantly do for each other, or try to do for each other, without actually realizing that they're already what they want for each other, whilst playing this game and trying to reach the point where they can finally end it, or to put it simply, end the status quo, leading us to their wild and daily romantic comedy interactions that by all means end up being extremely wholesome. Just reading every chapter puts a genuine smile on my face, and although part of me is like, come on, you guys like each other already, just ask the other out for real, the story wouldn't really have any point if it wasn't stretched out within reason. Again, as long as it doesn't pull a rent-a-girlfriend. Otherwise, the mangaka might as well just have made it a one-shot manga, and at that point people would then complain about it not having enough chapters. And really, who doesn't love a regular boost of dopamine reading or watching wholesome interactions that leave you with, as we the community would say, diabetes, and the feeling of looking forward to the drop of a fresh new chapter, wondering just where it could go next, in pure anticipation. And then there's the art style, and needless to say, it's just pure eye candy, and for some reason it reminds me of how KyoAni or Kyoto Animation characters are drawn. Kind of like the characters in Tamako Market or Tamako Love Story and K-On! And those specific pages in every chapter where the mangaka Yuuki Doumoto takes the time to flex their art with incredible detail. At the end of the day, it's not a mind-blowing crazy story that will revolutionize fiction, but a story doesn't need to be to make it entertaining, emotional, or relatable. Even the smallest of things can hit home, and this manga might just do the same for you, especially if you're looking for something to just relax, sit down, or lie down and read after a long day. Yeah, that's about it. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this random manga recommendation, do leave a like, it means a lot. And if you want more content like this, do leave a subscribe if you're new, because I try my best to put out a video every single week about anime, manga, Japan, and some other stuff sometimes. Yeah, that's about it. Bye bye, like and subscribe. Peace.